All right, welcome back. Antonius Brown again.
Irvin Bryant.
All right, so this segment's called They're Doing It Wrong, right? So we're going to talk about my favorite thing, red pill conservatives. You know, they are hilarious.
They are.
I find them funny. So who are they? You know, what are they and who are they?
I was born in 1996. And I was too young to be watching The Matrix. Yeah. But right when it was on DVD, I was watching it. And, you know, it's rated R for the action and for the mind-boggling revelations of the story. And the first revelation is, this world is a simulation. You can take the blue pill and go back to sleep, or you can take the red pill and wake up to the truths of the world. Get out of the simulation and see the real thing.
You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
And this is actually a thing before the metaphor kicked in.
Right.
For many people, when it comes to like racial consciousness, like, oh, Christopher Columbus was a bad guy, or oh, the Civil War was not about states' rights. But when you're white, and you really, you want to hold tight onto Christopher Columbus's righteousness and his being on a godly mission, you can take the red pill that exposes that all these black people are just making stuff up. And Barack Obama, he's actually a Muslim from Kenya. Take the red pill and wake up to all of these truths. And so, yeah, when you're white and you've been lied to a lot, and you like the lies, you can take the metaphorical red pill, and in fact, it is a blue pill, causing you to go deeper into a metaphorical matrix of lies and falsehoods in a world that doesn't exist.
And it's also like, it's becoming popular on black people too. So like there's the Candace Owens, the Ben Shapiro's.
The blacks it.
Yeah. Turning Point, they're, I think it's black people who are waking up and becoming conscious of history.
Yes.
But instead of reading it the correct way, they're doing it wrong, basically. Yeah.
And so who's doing it wrong? Right. We're talking about who's doing it wrong. We're trying to tell people how to do their jobs, and we barely know how to do ours. But the thing is, when it comes to media and writing history and things of that nature, creating stuff, content, as they call it on the internet,
right?
It's the creators who are at fault, ultimately.
Right?
Because if you didn't make it, people could not be fooled by the stuff that you made.
Right.
And so, Candace Owens is doing it wrong.
Yeah, so Candace Owens, I would point out, in 2015, had a blog where she talked about the president all types of ways, up and down, left and right, and how she just falls behind him, right? And it's not because of a change of heart.
Yeah, she did not take the red pill and wake up.
She doesn't even address what happened there, right?
Right.
And then when she speaks in front of Congress, the things she says are either half-truths, lies, or truth without context.
Yes.
That brings one story that it's not, right? So what is their popular appeal?
Right. And it's an American ideal to be a countercultural, to be the outlaw. Right. That's the character that we love. That's gangster rap. That's John Wayne, right? So like, and that's also George Washington, right? So like when you start stealing people's tea and throwing it into the harbor, it's like, yo, outlaw stuff. That's us. And social justice has a false popularity on the internet, on Twitter, because young people and the liberals were all savvy with the internet for whatever reason. Conservatives are not. And so
they were not for a little bit, but they're
getting it. And that's where the red pilling comes in. And so when conservatives get the internet, they're like, we can be the outlaw now. The internet is a space for liberals, and now I'm the righteous guy who breaks the law and shoots the bad guys, is how they tell it.
Yeah. So I would say, what's some of the popular arguments, right? So one of the arguments I find to be really funny is that Black Lives Matter should be mad at the Democrats who control their cities and not at Republicans, right? So real quick, give me the red pill argument that they try to make about this.
So, black people, you can routinely vote for Democrats, but what has it given you? Your cities are garbage. Your youth are unemployed. You're dying fast. The police keep killing you. You're telling me about it.
Yeah.
You have nothing to lose.
Look, what do you have to lose? You're living in poverty. Your schools are no good. You have no jobs. 58% of your youth is unemployed. What the hell do you have to lose?
From the president.
Yes. The problem with that, right, is that often the problem with these police reforms is police unions, which are mainly Republicans who head these police unions. So, in Minneapolis is a perfect place to make this example. A police reform mind mayor and a police reform mind police chief was elected and then appointed to these positions. The police unions just ripped the teeth out of the Citizen Review Board. They ripped the teeth out any time the police chief tried to fire somebody who wasn't doing a job correctly. They got them rehired through arbitration hearings, right? So the union, which is many times Republican leaning, tried to do things time and time again to stop police reform.
But before any proposed policing reforms can actually go into effect, lawmakers and department chiefs would first have to get past police unions. Over the course of decades, police unions have fought to secure generous benefits for rank-and-file officers and helped make the dangerous job of police work more attractive to hundreds of thousands of officers. But when their members come under scrutiny for police brutality and heavy-handed tactics, it's the union that often serves as their first line of defense.
And that's why we have these issues in these cities, you know. The police chief for the LAPD is not like the mayors that you know from LA. Yeah, he's a totally different type of guy. You know, he's the one who said that the death was on the looters' hands for George Floyd.
George Floyd's death is on your hands if you're out in LA tearing stuff up.
Yeah,
so you're a time traveler, and you went back and knelt on his back too.
Yeah, and then, so that's really an issue. Like the NYPD, for the longest amount of time, NY has always had Democratic mayors. But NYPD is a totally different, two different animal, totally different beast.
And this is an example of two things. One, the half truth telling. Where yes, there are Democratic mayors, but there's more forces at work in a city than a mayor. They're not kings of the city. And second is the kind of thing that gives credence to the abolish the police, where this problem is so mind-boggling that it's just, I don't want to throw this thing away. But when you're a red pill conservative, it's like, oh, there we go. They want anarchy. Right?
Yeah. Also, I'll do one last thing.
Yeah.
Many of these cities are in Republican states.
Uh-huh.
So Houston, you got Texas, California. I forgot Ronald Reagan came from California.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
They're like actors.
Detroit is in Michigan, with Michigan being very conservative Democrats or Republicans. So you can go down the line. NY, the same way. New York City's same way, been sometimes Republican. The second popular argument, and Ken has always made this in Congress in front of God and everybody, she lied. She said the Democratic Party is a part of the KKK and segregationists, and the Republican Party freed the slaves, right?
And it's okay. That's just one step at a time. And it's funny because this is not like the lost cause narrative where there's like maybe room for interpretation, or this is like written into history textbooks and taught to people. You should have learned this in high school, right? Where things change. Like America is not the people of the Amerindians. The Lakota don't run this country anymore. For the worse. And so in the same way, the Republican Party is not inhabited, just like a country is not always inhabited, by the same people. And when civil rights is a wave that's pushing, and this is a far more complicated story than I'm making, but when civil rights is on the rise and black people want to begin to vote, and white people are losing, especially in the South, their grip on power with the Democratic Party, and LBJ's straight up betraying them. He's a Southerner, he's a Democrat, but he believes in the common sense appeal of black people being able to vote. Republicans find a new market for power. They have a new place to seize a seat with those who are already have massive influence in the church, in the state, in social groups, and that is among racists. So they initiate the Southern Plan, using all the dogmas that we're familiar with today. This is peaking around the 50s, right? And so racism is like they're just beginning to feel like their land is being encroached upon, and so any of those dogmas are just ringing like sweet music in their ears. And slowly but surely, we have Republicans who can, bona fide say Mexicans are rapists, Muslims can't come over here, retweeting white power and many other of the worst things that the president's done.
And so I would say this, that like this should be common sense, right? nothing stays the same, right? Nothing in history stays the same, right? So, yes, Lincoln was a Republican who freed the slaves, right? But Lincoln probably would have been the Democratic Party today.
Ronald Reagan is also a Republican. So, I mean, we can see the difference, right?
Or that Wilson,
Woodrow Wilson
was a Democrat, but he was from the South. He showed what's it called Birth of a Nation. He showed
in the White House.
In the White House, yes. Right? So, he would have been a Southern Republican if he became president today, right?
Right. I mean, to put it plainly, only Republicans in the status quo, right, are ever seen with and around the Klan in the contemporary context. They're the only ones who will ever justify their existence, will ever act like they don't exist. Democrats are the only ones who openly condemn them across the board. Republican Party is the only place we can find individuals, not the whole party, who will say, I don't know, maybe they got a point.
And Gerald Wallace, who was a segregationist governor.
We can do it all day. Just naming legislators.
Yeah. So why should we care about them?
Yes. As anything on the internet, it seems trivial and it is goofy and worth a laugh.
Yeah.
But the problem is that black people, and Americans in general, but especially black people, get a very short end of the stick when it comes to education. And when we live in the information age, and I would vote to rename it the disinformation age, where there is so much readily available information with no filter on, and we're beginning to see attempts to filter it, but no real filter on the quality of that information. Red pilling is extremely dangerous because it is intentional mendacity. It's an intentional deception for political purposes that we actually see consequence of because we have the most robust healthcare system on the planet. Houston, Harris County, has the best hospitals on the planet. MD Anderson Cancer Center and others. UT Research Center, right? Memorial Hermann. I can do this all day. But we have the worst coronavirus, COVID-19 outbreak right now. We have the worst rates of increase in contamination, positive test rates, whatever metric you want to do. We have the virus the worst, despite having all the advantages possible. We're even well spaced out as a city. Because the disinformation and the red pilling about the coronavirus. Yeah. And it is killing people. Beyond the political implications, people are dying because we refuse to accept the truths of life, and we'd rather take a red pill that is ironically taking us to sleep.
Yeah. Also, I would say this. I think one reason why we should worry about it is because the Democratic Party has been abysmal when it comes to actually caring about what black people want, And so,
as we said, that's not what we asked for.
Yeah. And the Democratic Party is taking our votes for granted, right? So when you come and start saying, well, we people have been your governors, they've been your mayors of your cities, right? And you haven't got what you wanted, they aren't lying about that, right? So it's not a lie that the Democratic Party has just not done what it needs to do correctly.
They failed in many ways.
They failed in many ways. The problem becomes that the Republican Party is not going to be the ones to save the day,
Right.
And
they were the savior in 1865, and not so much anymore.
Yeah, it's like if the Republican Party was to wake up and then realize, hey, maybe we should stop being, cool with racists. Maybe we should elect Jeb Bush to be president.
If they would wake up.
Yeah, if they wake up, that's an argumentation we can have. But as of right now, I know that the Democratic Party is not going to be the best thing for my health, but the Republican Party may dang well kill me.
Yeah. And go ahead and hop in the Twitter comments. You know what I'm saying? Argue with them, expose them. It's a good time, but at the end of the day, we got to take it a little bit serious.
Yeah, we'll talk to you guys later.